Hello and welcome to your key skills lesson about climate graphs. Today we're going to look at how to read a climate graph, we're going to be able to draw a climate graph, and then we're going to be able to analyse climate graphs. The equipment you need is on the slide, so let's get going. We now need to look at what a climate graph shows us, and to do this we're going to remind ourselves of what the word climate means. So climate just means, on average, how much does it rain? What's the temperature like, hot or cold, over time? So it's based on data that's collected over at least 30 years. And this gives us our climate. So what a climate graph shows us is how much rain has fallen, on average, each month in a place, in millimetres. And then the temperature shows us how hot or cold it's been in each month, on average, using degrees Celsius. So what a climate graph shows us is both of these pieces of data together on the same graph, so we can create patterns and we can easily see what the climate is like. A climate graph then shows us the average rainfall and temperature that occurs in each month. So along the y-axis, you can see it is labelled average rainfall millimetres. So you read your blue bars, which show you the amount of rain that has fallen in each month, from the left-hand axis, because that shows you rainfall. Rainfall is shown as a bar because it is discrete data, which means the amount of rain that has fallen is the amount of rain that's fallen. It would go into a bucket. So it's discrete data, that's what's fallen, and therefore it's a bar chart. Temperature is the red line, and you read this from the right hand or the z-axis using degrees Celsius. Temperature is shown as a line because it is continuous data. It is continuously changing over time, within the day, within the hour. So it is continuous data. And then along the bottom, you've got the months. You read the red line from the middle of the month. So in September, you'd find the red line, where's it at the middle of the month? So you can say what the temperature is. For your next part of the learning journey, you're going to be drawing your own climate graph. Here is an example of what I would like you to do. As you can see, I have got the months along the bottom, a rainfall millimetre axis and a temperature degrees Celsius axis. I've also put a title of what my climate graph is called. For every month, I have done the bar chart for rainfall and the line graph for temperature, using the correct axes to plot the data. You're going to be doing exactly the same. You're going to draw it yourself. So first of all, you need to draw a climate graph axis, 12 centimetres tall, 0 to 60, going up in tens. Rainfall millimetre will be the title for this axis. Then you'll do 12 centimetres across, and this will be your x-axis, and that will be 1 centimetre for each month. And then finally you do another 12 centimetre axis, which will go 0 to 30 degrees Celsius, and this will be your temperature axis. Make sure that you've put your titles in and that you give your overall climate graph a title as well. For developing and secured, you're going to be doing the data that is on the right hand side of this, what's on the board now. For mastered, hang on, because I'm going to show you the data that you'll be using. So first of all, what you do is you are drawing bars to represent rainfall. Make sure that you use the correct axes to find where the bar should go up to, and that you leave a gap between each of the bars. I recommend that you do each bar ½ centimetre wide and then leave a ½ centimetre gap. They need to have gaps between to prove that it's discrete data. So here is the data for your rainfall. I'm only going to go up to April to show you what to do. Then you're going to do the same for temperature, but this time you need to use the right hand side of the axis to read temperature. So here would be the 1st of January is 4 degrees, then 5 degrees, 7 degrees, and 9 degrees. You plot the temperature data as a cross or a circle in the middle of the bar, and then you join it up together with a line to create that line graph. You need to do this for all of the months, and then when you do your next activity, you take a picture of all of it together and upload it to class charts. Here is the data if you're doing developing and secured, and if you're pushing yourself for mastered, you're going to be creating your own for Brazil, and this is more challenging because you're going to have to choose the scale that you're going to use for rainfall and temperature. Are you going to go up in 10s, 20s, 30s? And you need to work that out for yourself. Pause the video now and complete your climate graph. To continue with your learning journey, you are now going to do some analysis of your climate graph, and you're going to write this underneath the climate graph that you have drawn. Normally in geography we use GCSE when describing graphs, so we do generally, closer in, specifically, exception. That doesn't work for climate graphs, and instead you're going to do a slightly different version. So you'll continue by doing generally first. So generally means what's generally the climate of this location. So you're going to choose whether it's hot, mild or cold. So you need to look at the temperature. This is between 3 and 17 degrees, I believe. Yep, so that means that it's a mild climate. It doesn't go into the minuses, it doesn't reach above 20. So you'd say it's a mild climate. And then you need to decide if it is a wet or dry climate. So there is rain every single month. So it's a wet climate. So your general first statement would be it's a mild and wet climate. Then for closer in, you need to tell me when is the hottest and coldest month and how hot or cold is it within that month. You will do the same for wettest and driest month using the bars and the rainfall axes. If you're doing developing or secured, you can stop there. For mastered, you need to manipulate the data, which means you need to do some maths. So you can choose how you do this. You can either provide the total annual rainfall, which is when you add all of the rain together for each month. Or you can do the mean of either rainfall or temperature, which is when you add the data for every month and divide it by how many months there are, which would be 12. Or you could do the range, which is the difference between the biggest and smallest in terms of the highest temperature and the lowest temperature, or the highest rainfall and the lowest rainfall. So you take them away from each other. The final thing that you could do is provide the overall pattern. This might not be the case in some climate graphs, but in this one here definitely you can see that the hottest months have the less rain. Here is a worked example for this climate graph that I've got in front of me. I would like you to do the same, but for your climate graph. You can either pause the video here and use my worked example to do yours, or you can pause the video here to use these prompts to help you. You are going to write the answer underneath your climate graph and then take a picture of it and upload it to class charts. Please pause the video now. Yay! You have now completed your climate graph, and now to prove your understanding, can you now complete the Google quiz that is attached to your class charts template, and can you take a picture of your score and upload that to class charts? Woohoo! You have finished your key skills lesson on climate graphs. You've understood how to read a climate graph, you have drawn your climate graph, and you've been able to analyse climate graphs. Make sure that you have taken a picture of your climate graph with the description underneath and your Google Forms quiz score. Have a great day. Goodbye.